The case of Bethany Israel is a chilling study in the total breakdown of the family perimeter. Bethany was a 30-year-old educator and coach, a woman who was described by everyone who knew her as a beacon of kindness. At the time of the event, she was 16 weeks pregnant with her first son, Levi, on a Thursday evening in May. She entered what should have been the safest environment possible, her brother's home, for a family dinner. In the world of forensic victim oublié, this is known as a low-risk scenario. There was no first entry, no struggle at the door, and no reason for the victim to feel any sense of alarm. However, the evidence suggests that the normalcy of this dinner was a carefully constructed mask. While the neighborhood outside remained quiet, the interior of the home had already been prepared for a violent transition. Between the hours of 6 p.m. and 11 p.m., a 5-hour forensic vacuum was created. During this window, all communication from Bethany stopped. Digital forensics showed that her phone went dark, and her social presence vanished. This period of silence is where the most methodical aspects of the crime took place. The investigation later revealed that this was not a sudden explosion of anger, but a prolonged, multi-stage process. The perpetrator, Jack Ball, did not act on impulse. Instead, he followed a plan that required specific tools and an immense amount of physical effort. The recovery of a saw, a hatchet, and several large knives points to what experts call a premeditated toolkit. This variety of tools indicates that the perpetrator had a specific anatomical goal in mind and had prepared the house to facilitate a dismemberment. The psychological foundation for this crime was found in the perpetrator's own handwriting. In journals recovered from the scene, the suspect documented a growing, distorted resentment toward his sister's pregnancy. He claimed he was angry because she was no longer innocent. This specific focus on innocence is a massive clinical red flag. It shows a perpetrator who had appointed himself as a judge and executioner based on a private, delusional moral code. He didn't see a sister. He saw a target that needed to be cleansed. This motive reveals a high degree of premeditation, as the journals show the thoughts were brewing long before the dinner invitation was ever extended. When the silence of the evening was finally broken at 11 p.m., it was by the arrival of the siblings' mother. Her presence forced the suspect to make a choice. In forensic behaviors, the first few seconds after discovery are the most telling. Jack Ball did not try to explain the scene. He did not seek medical help for his sister, and he did not show signs of a disorganized mental break. Instead, he performed a rapid evasion maneuver, tearing out of the house to avoid confrontation. This flight is powerful evidence of a consciousness of guilt. It demonstrates that he understood the legal and social gravity of his actions. He knew that what lay inside the house would be viewed by the world as a depraved criminal act. As the suspect fled, his behavior became even more pathological. He was captured by digital surveillance miles away, engaging in what is known as pathological signaling. He was observed leaving biological evidence in public areas, almost as if he were displaying his work. When law enforcement finally closed in on him in a neighboring backyard, he was found with a self-inflicted wound. However, despite the physical trauma and the high-stress situation, his cognitive baseline remained remarkably intact. When officers questioned him, he was fully oriented to reality. He correctly identified the date, the time, and the current president. Clinically, this makes the defense of legal insanity extremely difficult to prove. It suggests that while his motives were born from a delusion, his mind was functioning well enough to understand time, place, and the nature of his surroundings. In January 26, the legal system reached a turning point when the suspect pleaded guilty to the premeditated murder of his sister and her unborn son. However, the case continues to move through a complex legal phase regarding his criminal responsibility. The state is now tasked with proving that a man capable of such intricate planning and an anatomical precision must be held fully accountable under the law. The irony of this case is found in the suspect's own obsession with purity. In his attempt to punish what he saw as a loss of innocence, he committed an act so horrific that it destroyed the ultimate innocent bond between a brother and a sister. He sought to judge his sister's life, but he ended up ensuring that his own life would be defined by a prison cell in the cold, hard logic of his own journals. Ultimately, the story of Bethany and Levi is a reminder of how thin the mask of normalcy can be. It shows that premeditation does not always look like a movie villain. Sometimes, it looks like a family dinner. By analyzing the forensic markers, the 5R vacuum, the specific toolkit, the rapid evasion, and the oriented cognitive state, we see a clear picture of a man who knew exactly what he was doing. This was not a loss of control. This was the execution of a plan. And the evidence left behind ensures that the truth cannot be hid and behind a plea of madness.